lot of people want Brian Polian fired. I just don't think it's going to happen. I just can't see Brian Kelly making that move with Polian being such a loyalist to him. Does it need to happen? Does it deserve to happen? I think so. I think you can make that argument that maybe it's time to go. But at the same time, things are so early in this team, so early with this staff, so early in this evolution that for me, as bad as it's been, there's also, I mean, we're just seeing a lot of lack of familiarity between players, coaches, and it's really hurting the team on the field because guys don't know what the other dude is about. For example, Jack Besh. They use him so rarely, such a little amount on the field, actually giving this guy the football, that you have to wonder, do they even know what Jack Besh is about? Do they even know what this guy is capable of? Do they even understand how to get him the ball correctly to get the best out of him? And you got to wonder the same about Kayshon Boutte, because it seems like, since Steve Ensminger left LSU, no one's really been able to do it. I understand that under Jake Peets, Kayshon had 9 touchdowns in 6 games, but if you go back and watch those games, Kayshon could have had even more. There's a few touchdowns he did actually drop that season, but there's also a lot of wasted opportunities, wasted yards, because Peets just was not an offensive coordinator. Didn't understand what he was doing. Half of the receivers on each play were just running dummy routes. I'm not joking about that. That is straight from someone who played every snap for that offense last year. Okay. I mean, this just shows how, everyone ripping on Steve Ensminger has got to be just clamoring for Bayou Gandalf to come back. We need the Bayou Gandalf. We need him to come back. This is hilarious. Short Rose Outdoors says the devil has come to collect for 2019 and for 3 years straight. Dude, it seems like it, man. It seems like a Short Rose, because damn, dude. Damn. But at the same time, I'll take 10 more losing seasons as long as we get to keep 2019. Because for me, 2019 is still always going to be the greatest football team of all time. No one's going to be able to touch them. You might be able to argue the greatest just football team of all time. I understand, NFL to college comparison can be kind of weird, but as far as like just straight up football, I don't think anyone's seen a team do it better. Seen a quarterback do it better. Seen a receiving core do it better. Even a defensive backfield with Derek Stingley Jr. and Christian Fulton being shut down. Jacoby Stevens having 3 picks at safety that year. Intercepting Jalen Hurts at one point. These things, LSU were absolutely stacked. Grant Delpit back there. That's pretty unreal defense that we had in the 2019 team as well, that just rarely gets talked about. But, as far as the offense and the passing game of 2019, yeah, it feels like the devil's coming home to collect, because, as much as people want to rip on the 2020 and 2021 seasons, in 2020, we actually put up a ton of points. A lot of points under Steve Ensminger. 2021, not as much. Not even close. But with Max Johnson, we still threw for 27 touchdowns in 2021. Max Johnson was able to get the ball to a lot of different guys. I know 9 of those were to Kayshon, but there's another 18 that went to other guys. Jere Jenkins, one of the notable targets of Max's. And so, Max Johnson gets a lot of shit from LSU fans for transferring to A&M and all that, but it's a lot better than this. I can tell you that much. A lot better than 85 yards, 5 yards in the second half. A lot better than 300 still conservative yards that really got you nowhere except for a touchdown at the end of the game. Jamer. I'm glad you're watching this because there's a surprise for you, Jamer, at the end of this. Jamer says, "Hey, Lon, it's a rough year, but I believe in our guys. Rome wasn't built in a day. Forever LSU." That's how you got to look at this right now. I understand that we want results. We want wins. We don't want to sit around and watch Tennessee come into our house, kick our ass, be singing Rocky Top in our stadium. It's so hard to take. It's hard to take. Hard to watch. But without these moments, we are not going to find out where we are at the end of this rainbow. Or I guess you could call it, to quote Mr. Leahy from Trailer Park Boys, shit bow. At the end of this shit bow, I think you're actually going to see LSU be really in a good spot for the next few years because of tough days like today. Because of tough wins like against Auburn and Mississippi State. Because of embarrassments on national television like against Florida State. Because of maybe his failure or failure so far in his relationship with Kayshon Boutte. Maybe that'll help our coaching staff kind of figure out how to coach some of these players better, how to be mentors to some of these players better. Because I got to say, they're not handling every single thing 100% like you would want, and that was expected before the season. That was expected. This is going to be a year of learning, of growth, of losses, of defeats, but no one expected 40-13 to Tennessee. 40-13. But here's the thing. Think of how far LSU has come under Brian Kelly. Think of your own personal expectations coming into the season. Yes, 40-13 really, really is devastating. It's disappointing. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to let Tennessee come into our house and do that to us. But, it's the first 40-point game allowed under Brian Kelly. And it's the first time that there wasn't a response to a deficit under Brian Kelly. Every other time there was a response to the deficit. And there was a response to the deficit. Or, sorry, I should say, every time there was LSU were down in these previous 5 games, there were 3 comebacks. It should have been 3 game-winning comebacks. Only 2, but 3 comebacks. LSU responded today when we went down 20-0. LSU responded. They pushed. They scored. But when it was 20-7 and you had that football right before the end of the half, and you had that chance to find Jaray Jenkins streaking on a Sunday, wide open, down the middle of the field, and you could not hit him without getting that ball tipped. And then Jaray cannot, recover from the tip and adjust to make the catch. That's just, oh my God, this game fucking sucked. This game fucking sucked. But you know what? I mean, it all goes back to the beginning. When LSU are coming into this type of a game with all the talk throughout the week, and we fumble on the opening kickoff, echoing the mistakes of Malik Neighbors against Florida State, the 2 fumbles, then everyone's immediately, oh shit, you know. And then Tennessee basically walked it in, score. And then LSU were holding them to some field goals, keeping them down, keeping them contained a bit. And they just keeps crawling up to 7, to 10, to 13, to 20. And then finally at 20-0, LSU responded after our offense still gave Tennessee the ball back up at 20-0, and we could have gone down 27-0. It's just, I mean, the stops LSU's defense made early, the plays LSU's defense made early, everything was set up for our offense to just complement them with a touchdown or two. If LSU had just been like losing 20-10 even, that defense is playing with such fire and intensity. But when they're down 20-0, and then it goes down to 23-7, and then they get drove on like that in just a few plays,